Hey doctors, 2 months ago, I cut a potato with a mandolin slicer and I cut off the pad of my finger. My question is, will my fingerprint be the same when the skin grows back?
Ooh, so raise your hand if you've ever cut your finger in the kitchen, right? It has. It's happened to virtually all of us.
Yep.
And if it hasn't happened to you, it probably will someday.
Or it means you have a cook.
And that leads us to our next accident waiting to happen, kitchen cuts.
And one of the things that can be really dangerous is one of these. It's a mandolin. And, I call it a chopper thing. I've got one of these at home. But people are tempted to just use it with their hand and slice away. And that can be very dangerous if you see the blade is right there, right by your fingers. They come with a safety device that you're supposed to use. Make sure you use it properly. Now it's chopping correctly, and my fingers stay away from the deal.
Who uses one of
Yeah,
these mandolins?
exactly.
I've got one of these, and it works actually really well if you use it right.
But if you're using the other kind of slicer, be careful. And when you start getting low,
Right.
stop. Don't
Right.
try to squeeze every millimeter of
Yeah,
your
'cause a lot of people
cucumber
see those
out
chefs
there.
on TV, like sort of doing it themselves with their fingers. And
Yeah.
But
a
Liz,
bad
you have
thing.
a little tip in terms of how we can avoid cutting our fingers off?
Yeah, I think most of us use a regular kitchen knife, and there's something called the kitchen claw. You should make a claw like this, like an angry bear, and hold, let's say we're slicing this tomato, hold it with that kitchen claw, position the thumb behind for extra stability, and then your fingernail should be perpendicular to whatever you're slicing. And then you just move it back as you're slicing.
That way, if you
And
You practice that.
you're not exposing your fingers. You're exposing your nail. So
Nice
if anything
nail
does
polish,
go
Liz.
wrong, well, thank you very much.
Where
I
were
do
you?
it
I'm
myself.
I'm liking that.
Where were you when I needed you? My wife was cutting cheese and, of course, put the knife through her web space.
Oh, gosh.
Right
Oh,
here.
gosh.
Hit the digital artery. The blood's hitting the ceiling. The kids,
Wow.
the kids are
Put the
crying.
knife down.
Put the knife down.
She was like, I was like, Drew, can you stop that?
So let's briefly, Dr. Orton, talk about cuts to the hand, because cuts to the hand are a little bit different. They're, like you said, you've got arteries, you've got nerves, you've got tendons. And so if you have a big puncture wound in your hand, on the surface, it may not look like that big of a deal. But if you have a knife puncture wound, again, precious territory in there, a lot of times you won't be able to see it, but we have to go in, repair a tendon. You can easily cut one of the nerves that goes to your fingertips. So these injuries can be more serious than they at first appear.
Exactly. Looking for other injuries deep to the initial site, and if you lose part of your skin, you shave it off, take it with you to the emergency room. We may use that to put it back on.
Do I have to keep it on ice if I bring it to the emergency room?
Well, not ice, but keep it cool.
Keep it cool.
And wrap.
Wrap it in gauze,
Okay.
put it in a sterile bag, and then you put that on ice.
And I have to answer this question: will his fingerprints come back? It all depends on the depth of his injury, but in that case, probably not.
And last but not least, if you get a mandolin, just know what you're
Know
doing.
what
Yeah.
you're doing.